Oh, good evening, folks, and thank you all for joining me. Hello. Is it C-Mac the Monkey? I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's Mr. RC2014 himself there, folks, tuning in to see what the mystery module is. As Phil points out, it is redacted in the title because it is a surprise. It won't be a surprise for very long. Who else do we have? We have CP Developer. Hello, Chloe. RHK, thank you for the 200 bits there, RHK, most appreciated. And I still can't read the screen. And there is Majenko with his viewers. Thanks for joining me, folks. So, the plan had been this week to get on with some nonsense involving a thermal printer and Perl, because as I mentioned, I need to build an asset tracking system so I can move out of my office. But Majenko's viewers voted for me instead to carry on with the RC2014 project. Thank you very much for the subscription there, Majenko. Most appreciated. And for 3 months. That's very gratifying. And a hype train, I see. RHK, it's not a pint, it is a glass of Pimm's. Because it is Pimm's weather, most definitely. So, this evening we have... Actually, let me switch cameras a second. The RC2014 Pro Pride, as we all... know and love it. Very colourful there, and it is working, and I was being a bit of a wally on Friday. We'll come back to that with Kermit. Thank you for the sub there, Cobb.
Cobb 2015 just resubbed for 3 months.
Missing anybody as bonus. I yammer on. I am not good. So here is a bag full of bits that I bought at EMF camp last year. So EMF, for those who are not familiar with it, is effectively a hacker festival held in at the moment in Ledbury, near Majenko.
Cobb 2015 cheered with 50 bits. Bits, you say?
Not quite 50 bits, Cold, but thanks for those 50 bits, most appreciated. So held in the field in Ledbury, where all sorts of nerds turn up every couple of years and do nerdy stuff in the field, such as nonsense telephone stuff. I did a view data project, for instance, had my view data terminal on show and connecting to an information service for what was going on in the festival.
A swarm of dead insects cheered with 100 bits. Musical notes emoji. We got beats.
Thank you for the 100 bits, Swarm, and thank you for the beats as well. more LA50 stuff coming soon. But what we have in this bag is that's irrelevant. That is a environmental air quality sensor that I built in a workshop, which I must get around to putting in a weatherproof box outside. And we have various cables and the Tildagon badge. Will it wake up? It won't wake up. Battery's probably flat. Badge from EMF. But in the bottom we have a stripy blue and white bag. Which I bought from Spencer in the night market. And if we switch to that camera, maybe the camera will pick it up. It is the LCD driver module, and I think it's I think it actually comes with a 4x20 display in there. No sweets, unfortunately. Yeah, the night market is there's a corner of the field called Null Sector, which is where the nightclub is. And it's very loud, and a corner of it is set aside for people to peddle their wares, as indeed. Well, there were. I'm trying to remember how many stalls there were. I think it was about half a dozen, something like that, just in a repurposed shipping container. So you get to have a good chat with people and buy their stuff. Well, Chloe, if you want to send me some sweets, do feel free. I shall be most appreciative. But let's get this open and see what we've got before we start building it. How can I open this without destroying anything too much? If we go across there, it might work. No, RHK. I don't think there is a direct equivalent to that, thankfully. A bicycle-powered hairdryer. Not sure about that one, Chloe. Oh, lots of stuff. Let's have a look. Oh no. We might not get very far here, folks. But let's have a look. In fact, let's get this out of the way for the time being. I might need to go and scrounge in my box of bits upstairs. We have all sorts of components, headers and bits and bobs. And a board. I did not realise it did not come with a display, so hopefully I'll have a display upstairs. Unless it's in here. No, it's not. This is what happens when you buy stuff and then you don't build it for years. You forget completely what you're doing. Right, so those are some ICs. Okay, well we can get all of that built and then we can worry about actually testing it out another time. So, where are we? On the plus side, we don't have to worry about any colours this time around. Display would have been packaged separately. I shall go and have a look in my box of bits from EMF then once we've got the module built. And if I can't find it, then that's my own stupid fault, obviously, and I shall find a replacement somewhere. There should have one floating around somewhere in the disaster that is my filing system. Right, so what do we want to do to start with? We probably have that resistor as the lowest. Actually, the resistor or the capacitors being the shortest parts to solder in, so let's get on with that. If I can find my cutters. Let's see what on earth is going on in chat there. We're talking about your comment about the bicycle powered thingy reminded me of something EMF related, Chloe, and I can't remember what. Whoops. Wow, I might have been right in suspecting it is far too warm to be doing this. But anyway, let's put a gold stripe upwards just to be neat. There was definitely a converted washing machine perambulating around the site. I remember that much. can't remember what it actually did though. Power to soldering iron. Yes, I think I wanted to run a 20 by 20 by 4 simply because I've built plenty of stuff with 16 by 2s and have them in things like the Sign Organizer 2. I just have never had a 20 by 4 module. So that would have been why I chose that. So we'll build it up assuming I find one of those. Phil, the air quality meter. It was a workshop. I'll have the link somewhere. I'll see if I can dig it out for you. But let's have a look while soldering iron has warmed up. It is a SDS011. If that helps. I don't know how good it is or whatever, but it seemed to work in the workshop at least. So, yeah, let's get on with that resistor. We can put the iron back up to 350 as a working temperature now that we don't have to worry about dye sublimated boards. As much fun as they were, I don't... It would be nice to get back to normal temperatures. Hang on, I'll switch cameras. Where are we? Working here, are we? Right. But yes, as I said, when I tried demoing stuff on Friday and was getting thoroughly stuck with transferring files via Kermit, I was indeed being a wally. The Kermit I found is configured to, or was defaults to using the second serial port for actual transfers, because it doesn't support a traditional Kermit server mode, where the remote controls it and so on, which is what I was trying to do. So what you have to do is have the console on the RC2014 up and your Kermit running locally, and then it lets you send and receive files that way over the serial port, the second port, and that worked quite nicely. So I got WordStar on there, only to discover that WordStar doesn't come with a VT100 driver by default, so you have to patch that. So I shall work on that at some point, and then we can play with WordStar on a RC2014, because as we all know, Office nonsense is my jam. But so that's 2 capacitors. What else are we looking at? Tell you what would have been intelligent before I started doing this. What would have been intelligent would have been to bring up that and have a read. Assembly, printer forward, software profile, yes. If you're using a 4x20 or other size, you'll need the 2x10 right angle pins fitting on the right side of the module. Oh, it's okay, it's on an extension. Okay, that's fine. Right, any other notes? Okay, good. And let me just have a quick look, see where the capacitors live. I spotted one. Oh, they're just 3 of them. 8, 9, 12. Okay. Turn that back off and let me catch up on chat. Resistor leg off cut will be first after the resistor. Is that the jumper for VCC to BL? Okay, we'll get on with that in a second. 1 capacitor, 2 capacitor. Where is the 3rd capacitor hiding? Oh, there it is. let's have a look. Phil, air particulate sensor is part of a project to monitor particulate pollution. I think traffic sort of pollution, that sort of thing. I think. Don't hold me to that. We all know what I'm like with trying to remember stuff off the top of my head, but come on. What's going on here? Evening created, good to see you. Yeah, the display types listed when I ran in WordStar 3, if that makes any difference. There were a couple of dozen at least listed, but no VT100, so I think you just have to patch the relevant escape sequences in. I found a list somewhere, so I shall give it a go. I mean, you could choose another terminal type, but the 100 has the advantage that it should work with the VGA board. Where was the other one there? Oh, missed that one. Should do it. I mean, of course, there's plenty of other exciting stuff we can run on it once I get around to finding files. I must dig out Multiplan. I have a copy for the Rainbow, so it'd be interesting to compare Multiplan 80 and Multiplan 86. I believe it was one of Microsoft's early experiments with using. Let me just consult the documentation quickly so I don't make a mistake. With using an interpreter, P-code style thing. So it might actually be the same software running with a different interpreter. Also, need to hold a link across the BL VCC jumpers for the backlight. Okay, we can do that. That might be a much neater job than last week's. Yes, excellent. Swan City, big enough that the air quality is, don't worry about it. I mean, round here it used to be the biggest problem with air quality was from livestock, but it gets busier. There's a motorway not too far away, but it's luckily on the other side of the valley, so and I'm right on the top. Right. So that's all the low-lying stuff. We have some vertically mounted pots, which will come along later. Let's see. IC sockets. Yeah, IC sockets next, I think. So let's have a look. You need the 2x10 right angle pins fitted to the right side of the module. That's those. And it does say to use the NIDC connector to space that out, so we'll do that in a bit, but I just want to check height wise. Yep, IC sockets first. better. Oh, good morning, Matt. Good to see you. How are you doing? Not usually around on Tuesday. Oh, but hang on, wasn't one of your compatriots just talking about... Okay, it is a holiday. Right, yes. I should pay closer attention. Have I been a prat? I have been a prat. What's sticking out there? There's a pin sticking out of this IC socket. Tweezers. There we go. Now, the reason I've been a prat is that I forgot I should have put the main connector on the bus connector on first, but never mind. Just got to work out why this. There we go, that should do it. What on earth are you squabbling about now, chat? I trust Majenko is still with us to keep an eye on you if needs be. Okay, and we'll come back and fit all of those later, but first we need to do the bus connector, so let's Thank you for that erudite contribution there, Chloe. Much appreciated. This is not the weather to be having a PCB assembly competition. I am regretting my choices already, quite frankly. Oh, that's not in focus, is it? It's more like it. Here Majenko has the advantage, of course, because his glasses, although he might have to wear 2 pairs, they are not ridiculous like mine, and therefore he can see straight lines. Or at least I presume he can. Whereas I have to wing it a bit. Let's try that. I just want to try and get these. That should do it. Well, in fact, we can test that, can't we? Let's plug it in and see if it looks straight. Yeah, that should do the job. So, just going to chug along and do all of those connected joints now, so this should take far too long. As always, folks, sing out if you want me to press the button and turn the music on. I should still be able to do that, even though things have been acting up on stream lately. The issue with the down in front not working turned out to be macOS being a pain. The entire speech synthesis subsystem is broken. It can't even read out stuff from its own accessibility settings anymore, so I need to reboot the laptop and see what happens. Let's try and I need to get around to building that thing I've been threatening to build to make it easier to switch scenes and such like, and get my clumsy arms out of the way. But future projects for future streams. What's that one? Hang on, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Might just be a reflection of the light. Oh, what did I do there? to the inevitable heat pump discussion there. I must admit it is becoming tempting, but it's vaguely annoying that my understanding is, over here at least, that the incentives that are available to install domestic heat pumps as a replacement for your oil or gas or electric. I mean, mine's gas, but the incentives don't apply if you decide to buy one that can operate as a air conditioner as well as, or can operate to cool as well as warm the house, which is vaguely irritating, especially when we end up, like in the last few weeks, having warning upon warning about staying cool because otherwise the heat will come along and kill you, and then if you want to take advantage of replacing your heating system with one that will actually be useful in this sort of situation, you can go and stuff it. But there we go. Nothing like a bit of joined up thinking. I'm fairly sure Wajenko isn't quite that daft, Caritas. And good to see you, by the way. Sorry, I don't know if I acknowledged you earlier. I'm fairly sure the biggest obstacle to a heat pump here in my place, Chloe, is the fact that it was built in 2008, so I mean the technology was already sort of on the horizon, but it was built with microbore plumbing throughout for the heating circuit, the radiators, and my understanding is that's no good if you've got a heat pump. At least a chunk of it would have to be replaced with something a bit bigger to get more greater flow rate or something along those lines. But when I did look into it, the plumber did the traditional sucking in of breath and shaking of the head, and ugh, which is a shame. It reminds me, I do need to measure up the roof on the garage, being the only roof I've got that's south facing, and see if it would be possible to stick a PV array on there of any significant or any useful size. But it's only the short side of a single garage, so maybe not. Beg pardon, Majenko. And almost done for this tranche of components. Some light on that last one, I wasn't convinced by it. Okay, not looking too bad. So we need to go back to press escape on that one, bring up the page again and make sure I don't make a mistake. If you're using 4x20, beg pardon. If you're using a 4x20 character LCD screen or any other size, you'll need the 2x10 right angle pins. So it's those two are for 2x8s, are they? That one is for the 1x16, yep, and then those go over there. And then we need to fit one over there. Okay, that's fine. So note this needs to be raised slightly off the PCB, so it's easiest to fit the IDC extension cable to the pins before soldering so that you have the right spacing. Okay, we can do that. Which way round do we want to do it? Pin one up there. Like that. This is going to be a minor challenge. Now let's get that out of the way first. Colby, you're quite right. Yes, the speech synthesis is broken on the laptop. It needs a reboot, and I forgot to do it. I meant to do it while Majenko was streaming earlier, and then I completely forgot because I was looking up nonsense about backstations for him. So we want to do that there. Okay, that should be all right. Okay, let's see if that's yep, okay. Should be fine. I mean, I could have left that attached while soldering, couldn't I, just to be certain, but no, it should be okay. I've got the opposite corners tacked down. try to bring that actually back in the holder, not stabbing it into my tripod legs. And see how that's gone. Okay. So there is a jumper block that needs to go over here, and then a pair of potentiometers, and I think we're good. Okay. Appeared to go in nice and straight first time, which is unusual. Oops, and we'll see what the legend says. Jumper on the leftmost pair for DA/DB RC2014. That sounds right. And then I presume these are both the same. Oh, well, they're pots anyway. They're not. No values listed on the schematic, so that's fine. We'll just pop them in. Excellent. Thank you for the confirmation there. See, folks, it helps to have the expert in the chat, doesn't it? Also helps if my glasses don't keep falling down my nose because of sweat. But anyway. We should be done. Well, apart from that last blast. Let's see if I can. One of them's not quite vertical. That was silly. Obviously didn't click quite square into the hole. That's fine. We'll bend it back slightly and nobody will ever be any the wiser. Right, so we just need to fit the chaps. So 688 there, 245 there. The right way round might be useful. And what do we have here? 02 on the top and 86 on the bottom. Yep. now comes the tricky part where I have to go and find the display. So I shall switch back to there for the time being. Yeah, I shall be back in a second. Bear with. Right, sorry about that. I have found something. It was lurking in the bottom of the box with my view data terminal in it, which was where everything else was, so fingers crossed. What does it say on it? I can't make out a busting lot, but it's roughly LCD module in bubble wrap shape, so we'll find out. Yes! There we go. And, aha, I see. Right, so we need to use this behind there, I presume. So we shall revisit the text. Other things I found whilst doing that. Film that I should have processed a year ago. Not ideal. Oh, Caritas is off, is he? See you next time, Caritas. And the nail polish I was looking for last week. Nice shiny purpley blue, or blue to purple nail polish. Is it purple to blue or purple to red? One or the other. Nail polish that would go with, would have gone nicely with the Pride kit. But thank you for the follow there, Atom Fighter. Hang on, sorry, Chloe. What was the down in front in relation to? My apologies for it not working, but I hope I wasn't blocking too much review. Right, what we're going to do, we are going to bring up the words again, briefly, just so I can be certain I'm doing this right. You'll also need to solder. Yes, right, that's fine. Hardware. So breakout PCBs. So I just need to see if there are any particular notes on that, but I presume it's just use these single row headers on that. Right, it is. Okay, good. So I presume that the trick here is that that module is too big to go on there without it blocking the backplane connector. So you fit this to here, to here. So that just sits on the back, and then the ribbon cable goes on there, back to there. So we can get on with that. That's not a problem. Ice cream, yes please, Chloe. Right, so switch over to that. Let's make sure we're doing this right first. That obviously goes in that corner, and that's fine. LCD on this side, that's definitely a bit of a giveaway. The hole doesn't line up on some early ones. Let's find out. Looks like it might do. Okay, that doesn't do what I thought it did. I think it lines up, it just doesn't accommodate the nylon screw. Nope, you're absolutely right. It's nowhere near close. So that's fine. We'll just pins on this side. Okay, that's good. Let's do the pins on this side first. Cable, there we go. Oh, thank you very much for the gifted sub,
has gifted a sub to Semut the Monkey. Should be relatively square. I must say that's a considerably larger 20 by 4 display than I remembered, but that'll be fun. Means I can use it from further away. My mental image of these LCDs is always shaped by the character size on the Scion Organizer 2, which was obviously a formulative piece of equipment in my early years. Got one somewhere. It was last seen emitting some smoke out the back, and I don't know whether it was out of the back of the thing itself or out of the back of the RS232 adapter, which had a socket for an external DC power plug. But anyway, I should take it apart sometime and see if I can work out what on earth went wrong. So that one was my grandfather's, which he bought as a sort of alternative to a fibre fax, and then never used. But it used to sit on the windowsill in his office, and I'd eye it up, recognising it as the same machine that you could see in M&S. They used to use them for stock control. So I was
Swarm
fascinated
of
by
dead
it.
insects cheered with 100 bits. How to recognise different types from 80x4 displays from a long way away.
Yeah, thank you, Swarm. Most appreciated. 100 bits there. Number 3, the lark. The lark, the larch, you pillock. I told you it was hot. Anyway, so yeah, one summer I sat down and read the manual for the Organizer 2 in lieu of anything better to do. So my grandfather gave it to me. Fun piece of kit, but anyway. This looks like the characters are going to be about 50% larger. Right, and we need that one, LCD. Let's say that way, no. Let's have a look. Yeah, that should be okay. We'll solder it that way round. Ramdog, yes I am, although I don't really practice M7MWP, but I don't think it was this weekend. I'm not sure though. I'm not a. I really should get around to RSGB membership. If for no other reason than gets me free entrance to Bletchley. But first I want to go through the stack of old Radcoms that a former colleague of mine gave me, so I know what I'm getting myself into. RHK M7MWP. MWP for microwave pizza, because all the variations on my initials were already gone. And microwavepizza.co.uk is my domain name, or my nonsense domain name. Did I make sure that was... Yes. Whew. I think we're there. Close enough to neat, and pop that one on there. I haven't done not much with ham stuff, mainly because, well, the only transmitter I've got is a little handheld Yaesu thing, which works well enough, but I haven't heard much activity locally. There is allegedly a night. I think the local Radio Society say they have a nightly net, but I haven't managed to hear anybody on it. So either I'm just getting incredibly unlucky with timing, or I think the answer here is to lift that up slightly. Burn your fingers whilst doing it. Yeah, that's better. There is a repeater a little while, about 5 miles away or so. But again, I can hear it. I can hear it from here. It sends out its ident every 15 minutes, but I don't know whether it can hear me. So I need to build an aerial for that. But really, I prefer to do HF stuff. I just don't have anywhere I can easily string up an HF aerial, and then I'd need to buy a transmitter, which, money. So I keep myself busy just listening to the NOAA satellites go overhead with the aerial I built from some scrap aluminium. But of course we have one fewer of those. I think there are only 2 left in operation. NOAA 18 was decommissioned recently due to a failure, a telemetry failure I think it was. Oh, there's a good idea for a stream actually. I have somewhere, let me just get that back in focus. I have, which I bought a couple of years ago on Crowd Supply, the Discovery Dish, which is a collapsible satellite dish for amateur radio purposes. And I could try hooking that up and seeing if we can find anything with it. But I don't know what on earth I can point it at. I bought it before I realised that there weren't actually any geostationary weather satellites with transmitting in the clear that I could see from here. I believe the Russians have some, but they're below the horizon from where I am. Anyway, what's that? That's that should be okay. Right, so in theory, folks, that is everything. So we want to put this on pin 1 that side. And pin 1 here is that side. And there we go. So turn the soldering iron off, get rid of the solder. And we'll fire up the machine. So what we want is OTG dongle for the keyboard, power supply, VGA cable, and we'll pop this in that slot there. Where can we put that so that you can see it like that? Almost. Whoops, I didn't mean to actually make that the active scene, but never mind. There we go, that's focused. So, secondary camera again. Plug a keyboard in and we'll apply some power. And I'll just wait for the monitor to hit good, that's woken up, so we haven't killed anything. So if I do come on. So I'm just adjusting for the VGA capture so you can see what's going on. And we'll do it this way. Can't make that bigger. Right. Let me just catch up on chat because I think you've been saying a lot of stuff while I haven't been paying attention. Sorry, where were we? Phil said something there about RSGB. Radcom's not great with access to the archives, good to have. Yeah, that's the thing. As a newbie to all of this sort of thing, I'm going to move that up here so you don't see my gut so much. As a newbie to the whole thing, the archives might be quite useful. We'll just wait for the house to finish and Remdog shall rejoin us. And in the meantime, I shall bring up the test code, which is on the page. Oops, grabbed the wrong thing. Right, there we go. So now you can see what I can see.
A swarm of dead insects has gifted a sub to Remdog Cat.
Thank you for the gifted sub there, Swarm. Most appreciated. The SIGs are where the interesting stuff is happening. Yeah, I can see that. I saw the some of the AMSAT UK stuff at EMF looked very interesting. But anyway, so let's crack on with. I'm probably going to move that down there so you get more lines of basic per screen full. I'll crack on with this. Equals 218, 20, D equals 219. Right, 30 out, 56, 40 out, 14, 50 out,
R1. Does this support auto? No, it doesn't. Shame. Okay, 60. Okay, that's not the right keyboard layout. 60. Input. For A equals 1 to len T dollar 80. Oops. No. Out D ask mid T A1 100 next A. So we should be able to do that. Yep. And let's see if it works. It does not work. That is not good. We have no backlight actually, I am just noticing. Let's do two things. Let's give the pots a little wobble, just in case it is a contrast issue. Okay, there's the second pot is a backlight pot. Okay, so oh, there we go. I'm not seeing any backlight regardless. So that's almost good. The only thing we want to do is figure out what's going on with the backlight. So that should be... We'll knock over the bag full of cider on the floor. That's always a good start. Anode and cathode. Now, got 11 millivolts there. That doesn't sound like it's going to light an LED. So let's have a quick fiddle with this. Not seeing anything across the entire range there. Old memes are the best memes, come on, you know this. So let's power down and we'll just have a quick look at my soldering on the backlight pot and what else might be at fault. So backlight there. Looks okay. Yeah, and over here there was the jumper for... Yeah, that looks okay. Yeah, I had the jumper set for. I don't know whether we'll be able to make it out under the. Sorry, I'm getting myself in a knot here. So I installed it in the position labelled link for front panel Xed. If that wasn't right, then it's going to be. If it needs to be in the other position, then that's going to be a tricky one to fix up. Let's have a quick look at the. No, it was the lower one. Did I fuck up? I probably fucked up. You'll also sort of link across the BL VCC jumpers for the backlight. Oh, hang on. VCC BL. Where did I fit it? So we're just going to. That's interesting. The silk on this is different from the one on the website. I really need a hotkey to switch to projector mode so I can see what I'm looking at. So we reckon I should try snipping that and putting it in the other position, do we? Should be, right, okay. Let me just see if there's a note. Yes, it says V1.1 on the back. Okay. Note that on the it's also, oops. Right, using the 2x10 for remote display, use a link soldering across the central BL pin and the negative pin. So I'm just going to read this a bit more carefully in case I've made it. Make sure I understand what's going on here. So should allow a. R24064 is one of those fancy graphic modules, isn't it? Okay. Graphic modules? OLED things. 3-pin header next. It needs a link soldering across the central BL and negative pin. Right. Okay. So what we want to do is. Is bodge it on the back, I think. Sorry, let's see if I can. So we need to snip that. shall try desoldering it, and please let Majenko see the back of the LCD module. This one.
RHK77 cheered with 100 bits. Majenko wants to see the back of the LCD. For what it's worth.
What do you want to see the back of that for, Majenko? Where are we? That way a bit. Let me know when I can move my hand, Majenko. Oh, well, that would certainly be an issue, wouldn't it? Well, we can test that. Yes, it does. I like the easy questions. The easy questions I can answer. So we need to figure out how to get this out of there if my snips won't reach it. Which they won't quite. We're probably going to have to try... I was so pleased at how neatly that jumper had gone in as well. Oh well. Let's get the iron warmed up and we'll try and pull it out with a bit of heat and right, so we get one leg of the tweezers just underneath it, I think. Nope, failed. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can get in there with a scalpel blade actually. There is always the possibility, Majenko, that I mucked up and should have fitted the headers the other way, but that's not happening yet. Okay, we shall try. The same thing again, because that's always guaranteed to work better the second time.
That might have got it. Let's see if I can bring up the. Yeah, okay, at least it's not connected anymore. Let's see if we can make those fall out. Well, okay, we'll just double check they're not connected, and then I'll stick a jumper on the back instead. Easier to reach. .8 kiloohms, that's not shorted at least. So where is my spool of wire wrapping wire? Apologies for the undignified camera angle there, folks. There it is. Wow, that's warm. The laptop must be really pumping out the watts at the moment. And I need the... Oh God, where's that gone? Wire stripper thingy. Balls. Don't know. Let's see if we can do it the old-fashioned way. We can. Excellent. So now we need to solder this to the top two pins instead. Okie doke. I'll do it the really ugly way actually. And then if that fixes it, we'll neaten it up afterwards. Or I shall neaten it up off stream because it is 11 o'clock and so on and so forth. So pin one that end. Okey-doke. And this time if we apply power we should get still no backlight, but let's wobble the pot and see what happens.
driver isn't a very good size for that plot. Hmm. No, that hasn't done it. Yeah, I know Majenko. I haven't run any code on it yet. I just applied power to the system, but the backlight is separate from the display controller, isn't it? It's just an LED across the 2 pins at the top here. Let me just have a quick look at RHK. We shall find out whether I've mucked up that connector. Oh, mucked up that jumper. Yep, you're quite right, it didn't actually connect. Now, has that done it better this time? That should do it. Nasty blob of solder there, but like I said, I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I put the effort into doing it neater again. So, power on. Hey, there we go. So put that about there, and then we shall... No, always drink Pims and solder. Yes, Majenko, we would definitely know if I've managed to short... We'll switch back to... OBS, I'm going to patch you with a fix for that really fucking annoying behaviour if you're not careful. Right, basic, memory size. And we'll do the hill order a second time, and then we shall call it quits for the night. Code. We like code. Or we grudgingly put up with code. 218 TD equals 219 30 out 56 40 out 14. I need a better place for my monitor. I put a dot in there, didn't I? 14, because I'm looking at the screen through about a 1-inch gap between my microphone and the webcam tripod. RHK, I did not. No, that's 5060. Text to display. Semicolon T $.
equals 1 to len t dollar print d ask mid, where are we, mids ta1 100 next a, and then run, and hello, hooray. Now we'll do that again with some lowercase. And this time we'll do it with the see what that does. Okay, as expected, the 4-row displays of this are very weird in that they have the they alternate the rows on the display. Really weird behaviour, but the semicolon at the end of line 80 is just to suppress the new line after the print. So by default, basic print will put a new line after everything. So if we bring up the screen capture, if we replaced that with 80 print mid t $a1, so take the semicolon away and then run the ever erudite farts, we'll get that instead. So anyway, fun, run, run FC error in 90. Oh, it's stripping the space, okay. Go away. So, right, okay. I think we are. We'll turn off the Safari. I think that's a good place. 10 past 11, not too bad. Good place to leave it because it is far too hot. Luckily, it's getting a bit cooler. Farts and balls, indeed, Cobb. Yes. So that's working. That's good. That was a fun build. And now I am officially out of RC2014 things to build for the time being. Let's switch back to that one. Let's get rid of that one, which is over my... What? Go away. There we go. OBS really is out to try me at times. The reason I keep getting in this battle, folks, is that I have it in studio mode so that I can fart around with adjusting camera angles on one view without it affecting the actual program view. The problem is, if you double-click a scene to change the program view, it then moves the highlight back to the scene you were on previously for you to fiddle with without it showing up on the program view. But if what we want to do is bring up the main one view and then turn something off on it, it's changed what you were looking at. It's just a pain. I need to do a thing, a patch to make that optional perhaps. But anyway, as I said, yes. So that is the RC2014 Pro Pride and the LCD module, all built. I do not currently have any other fun things to build for it. There are plenty of other fun looking modules that I'd like to try, but it is mostly a question of having mostly a cash flow issue for doing that. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for the kits as well. They've been great fun to build. Good couple of months building the Pro Pride. And I can understand why you are not keen on doing any more Pride editions. The labour that must have gone into all of that was immense.
But I do have some boards I want to design. Not a real VGA card as much as Majenko would like it. I want to build a Max 232 that plugs into the backplane and gives me a proper serial port, because the serial adapters and such like, it would just be nice to have an RS232 port I could plug into things. So that's on the docket for some point. An adapter to plug System 1 peripherals into it would be fun, so I'm thinking about that, but it's something for the future there. But yeah, on which note, we'll call this here for this evening. I'll be back on Friday at 6 p.m. We'll be looking at, I think, the fourth stuff for System 1 I wanted to do last time around and messed up. But the assembler is fixed, so we'll fix it. Yes, Swarm, that is definitely what I'm thinking. The System 1 keyboard. Let me go and fetch that for the benefit of anybody who hasn't seen it. That is the keyboard for my homebrew machine, and it would interface quite nicely to the RC2014. Because it's a simple 8-bit interface, so that'd be nice. So yeah, we'll be doing fourth interpreter stuff on Friday, and then next week we will probably be doing the thermal printer stuff I was going to do today. Jeepin, you can keep wishing. I'll ask my brother what he would charge for his time to build another couple of end caps for it. God knows what my brother's up to this weekend. But no, I haven't done any more keyboard stuff for a while. I must get that done. But yeah, anyway, thank you everybody for joining me. Hope that wasn't too sweaty, disjointed and vaguely drunken. Haven't even finished my PIMS yet. And I shall catch you on Friday.